Everybody knows this woman has been nominated for an Oscar for her work in House of Sand and Fog, and the Emmy for Best Supporting Actress for House of Saddam.
House.
I wasn't going to point that out, but you did. So.
It carried on for a couple of years. House, Lake House,
That's
House
right.
of Sand and Fog, House of Saddam, Horror House. And then I had an offer for Odd Life of Timothy Green, Disney movie. I thought, okay, no more houses. This one has nothing to do with a house. By the time I got closer to Disney, where I had the meeting with this amazing producer, I thought I have to find out what her name is because I just can't get in and say, "Hi, how are you?" So I looked at my cell phone to find out what her name is. So when I enter, I would say, "Hello, Mrs. So-and-so." Guess what? Her family name was Housebrick. I'm like, oh my God, it had to be her family name. It's not the name of the movie, nor the name of the director, but the producer's family name, Housebrick. So I thought, I'm still stuck with House, which is beautiful. Ask every immigrant, every displaced person who has left her home country, has migrated, ask them what comes first. They all tell you, house. Maybe that's why. This was universe trying to tell me that you have a house with us no matter what. Maybe.
And now you have all of Earth.
Yes.
The Expanse. Please
yes.
tell us about how you got involved.
2 heartbeats away from governing the world, ladies and gentlemen. Help me through. Vote for me. I promise you, I would save Earth for you. I would not allow Mars, nor Sirius, nor the Belters come and take our resources. That's what my character, Chrisjen Avasarala, is afraid of. And she has the right to be afraid of Martians. All they want is to come to Earth and take our resources. And we still have a lot. We have already colonized Mars and the solar system. We have colonized Belters, with all due respect to the chief of the Belters here today. But we're still afraid of them. The core of the idea of politics have not changed, not even in 200 years, where this TV series is set at.
So, in numerous interviews that I watched, you talked about how you would, when it was nonfiction, you would learn about the person that you were about to portray, and in fiction, you would create a history.
From scratch.
From scratch.
Yes.
So, for Chrisjen Avasarala, what did you do?
Chrisjen was really hard. My first politician. I had done lots of doctors and professors. And I still remember a comedian friend of mine once told me, oh, Mrs. Aghdashloo, you get to play all the doctors and professors. And I said, believe me, Anthony, I'm dying to play a maid. He goes, a maid? You come in with that voice of yours. You say, madam, the tea is ready. That tea must be poisoned, or there is no reason of bringing you into this. He sort of put an end to my life's dream. Thank God I got it. I got it last year. I portrayed a maid in a movie called Septembers of Shiraz, based on the Iranian writer's book called Septembers of Shiraz, New York's bestseller. Amazing, with Adrian Brody and Salma Hayek. Finally, I portrayed the maid. But a politician, it was my first time. And I was walking, pacing back and forth, thinking, how am I going to create this character from scratch? I'm gonna have to start with my heroes, with women whom I have admired since childhood, with women whom I have looked up to, and followed their path and wanted to be them or to do what they are doing. So all of a sudden, Indira Gandhi came. It was like the door opened and Indira came in and I said, oh, Indira, please do sit down. Obviously, Indira was followed by Benazir Bhutto, one of my favorites ever. Mm-hmm. I loved her so much that I was so furious when she was killed. furious with her. Why an educated woman, a well-read politician, why she should poke out her head from a limousine who is driving 5 miles per hour, every assassin's paradise. Anyhow, Benazir came in, and I'm looking at Benazir, and I'm like, although this character is from Far East, far East, and it's an international, universal character, but I still need more women, more people who are not necessarily from East or Far East. And obviously the door opens, and another favorite of mine, Margaret Thatcher, comes in. I loved Thatcher. I happened to be in London when she became a prime minister. Her first speech changed my life forever. I wanted to study art before I saw her speech. But right after her speech, I decided to study politics. And I managed to do it and got my BA in International Relations, Political Science in '84. So Thatcher is coming. And I know in the UK, it's very hard. When you say you love Thatcher, some people really get, upset with you. They're like, how? Why? A woman like you? And I said, well, look, I was living here at the time of Callaghan. It was the Labour Party. And the UK was on the verge of a nasty breakdown. Thatcher came. She said it in her speech. She said, I'm hearing rumors that people call me Iron Lady. I am the Iron Lady. Tighten your belts. We are going to change Britain for good. And she did. So that's why I love her so much. Right after her, Madeleine Albright, another one of my heroes, which I love and adore, and was followed by Madeleine. Thatcher was followed by Madeleine for a reason. Everything is interrelated in this world. Both women are famous for their brooches. They have books about their brooches. That's why Madeleine followed Thatcher. And right after that, of course, Secretary Clinton, Hillary Clinton. And I'm like, okay, now everybody's here. Now I can see them. I can feel them. It's so tangible now. I can see the character. Now I can start breathing life into this character. And it was only then that I was satisfied that I may be able.
With all of those, you were 2 heartbarbeats away.
Exactly. Yes. They were all there, like Sense8. All my other selves were there. Have you ever watched Sense8? Mm-mm. The Wachowskis. It's a very nice, I love that series, Sense8.
So, I have a question about what led you to decide to write your memoir.
My American friends.
Oh, really?
More than anything else, my American friends. For 20-odd-something years, I was asked so many questions, so many odd questions about driving camels back in Iran, or about somebody was actually like, did you have telephone in Iran, like telephone? Yes, we did have telephone. We did have it. When I was born, we had telephone. So I thought, I have to educate them. They have to know. We owe it to them. This beautiful, vast country who's been taking care of us, who's been so graciously accepting us. So I thought, for the sake of the people of this country, for the sake of the modern history, I need to write this down. Another fact was that every time I met an educated, well-read American, elderlies, immediately they would say, oh, you're from Iran. Yes, we do remember Iran. What happened to Iran? Mohammad Mossadegh, the first and last democratically elected prime minister of Iran, who was sent to exile, CIA coup d'etat, 1953 in Iran. They knew every detail about Mossadegh, this deposed prime minister of Iran. Young people, if I would tell them that I was Iranian, they would say, oh, Ahmadinejad, Ahmadinejad. And I just didn't want to be identified with Ahmadinejad. I had to do something about it. And I thought, maybe the best thing is to write my memoir, which is, but do not concentrate solely on the memoir, because more or less we all have the same life. Every one of us is a moving film, movies. So, but I can set my memoir against the history, the modern history of Iran that was, going on while I was in Iran during the Shah's reign. Now that there's such a huge gap that Americans know Mossadegh, which is 52, and now they know Ahmadinejad, which is 2008. as though Iran did not exist in between the two of them. That was the first reason that made me to sit down, and I had basically two choices. HarperCollins told me that I either could write it myself or have a ghostwriter. I sent the first chapter to a ghostwriter, especially because I was going to the UK, to London, to portray House of Bernarda Alba in a play that was going to take 4.5 months of my life. And I thought, I'm a method actor. I would rather not to combine, works together. But when the chapter got back to me, it was beautifully written, so rich in literally speaking, but it wasn't my voice. It sounded non-Iranian. It sounded American, and it had lost my voice. So I called back and I begged of Harper and Collins to allow me to write it myself. And to cut the story short, it took me 2.5 years to finish it. But I'm glad I did it. It has accent, but it doesn't matter. It has my accent. So when you read it, you realize that whatever I'm saying, it's me saying it. No one has tried to add anything to it or take away from it or interfere with it.
So I was curious, the Alley of Love and Yellow Jasmines, how did you come up with that title?
Oh, this is one of my favorite things ever. As you all know, I was on 24. 24 is amazingly successful all over the world. People of the world love 24. Marrakesh, Tunisia, Jordan, wherever I went, as soon as I opened my mouth, they were like, "Are you the woman on 24?" I was at the bazaar in Marrakesh, poverty personified. This young 10, 12 years old boy is following me, and I was a bit afraid. I noticed he's following me. I decided to act, strong. I turned around and I looked at him and I said, "What do you want?" He took a look at me and he said, "Madame, c'est artiste?" I said, "Yes, oui." He goes, 24, 24. I said, "What is your name?" He said, "Muhammad." I said, "Muhammad, I get you a sandwich. I give you a coin. Do you like Coca-Cola?" He goes, "Yes, I like Coca-Cola." "Don't tell anyone I'm from 24. I won't be able to leave bazaar." In Japan, they love it. They love it in Japan, and they dub it in Japan. So I was told that not only 1 or 2 reporters want to interview me for 24 from Japan, but also there is a dozen of them. Therefore, they decided to have a moderator in LA with me and have all these reporters on a conference line from all over Japan. They asked me questions, so many questions. They were all women reporters. And they asked me questions, so many questions. And finally, one of them said, and all of this, the moderator, I would answer in English, the moderator would translate it into Japanese. They will ask their questions in Japanese, vice versa. So the last question was, ask Shohreh to close her eyes and tell us, what is it that she misses the most about her birth country, Iran? And I did. I listened to them. I always do. And I closed my eyes. Then the first thing came to my mind were these tiny, narrow cricket alleys back in Iran. Usually, old countries do have that. There are a lot of these tiny cricket alleys in Spain as well. I was there working there for 3.5 months and managed to see these alleys. In Iran, the generation before me called these alleys Kuche Ishq, the love alleys, or the truce alleys, Kuche Ashti Konan. And these alleys came in the spring. The walls of these alleys are filled with yellow jasmines. And if you have smelled yellow jasmines, you know that its scent stays in your nostril forever. So these two, the image and then the smell, came. And I said, the alley of love and yellow jasmines, that's all I can remember. As soon as I said that, the moderator translated into Japanese, and then they started talking and talking and talking, and nobody is telling me what's going on. And finally, I said, excuse me, what is going on? And the translator said, ladies are talking about yellow jasmine and the fact that they don't have yellow jasmines in Japan. They only have white jasmine. And I said, leave it to the Japanese. By now, they have put the seeds in a box. They're flying to Japan to put it in the ground. That's why, the alley of love and yellow jasmine. So I thought.
So this is participatory with you guys. So think of your questions, start lining up. And I'm going to ask one other question right now. So I expect bodies to start getting off of seats. So you were a tomboy.
I am still tomboy.
Yeah.
I am, yeah.
So I was a tomboy too, but anyway. So is that common in Iran? I mean, for girls to be climbing trees and
not really, no.
Even
every time I did it, both my grandmothers were out looking at me like, who is this creature? And my grandmother was like, you're a girl. You cannot go up the tree. You know what happens. You're a girl. And I'm like, yes, I am, but I can do it. I was raised with 3 brothers.
Right, okay.
And I was the first
You had to
one.
keep up with them.
I had to keep up with them. I had to beat them.
But you also wanted to be an actress from...
Since I was 7 years old. I started when I was 7. And my mother kept saying, not under our roof, not under our roof. It wasn't a respectable profession or job back in Iran. And my father was afraid that I'm going to join the cinema and all of a sudden he's going to see me naked, which he never got a chance to do. After a while he noticed, no, I'm a real actor. I'm not a starlet. I'm not there because I love acting. There's a huge difference between those who are born actors and those who love acting. And we have both of them. To me, most of the stars love acting. They're not born actors. They do great jobs because they have a lot of help from people who can teach them, who can, take them through different paths. But they're not born actors. They love acting and they do great jobs. But there are some who are born actors. I was one of them. That's why all my life I literally fought to become an actor. Because this is what I wanted to be. I'm so happy that I fought for it. Because now I'm a happy person. Every time my mother comes and says, oh, now are you happy now? You had to go through countries. You had to live in exile. You had to do, are you happy now? I'm like, Ma, I've been happy since the day I become an actress. I've always been happy because I did what I wanted to do.
Mm-hmm. Looks like we have a question.
Yes. Hi, love your role on The Expanse. You're doing a great job. The show has kind of become infamous for the zero gravity scenes. They're difficult
Yes.
and they're arduous. And I was just wondering if you had the foresight to put a no zero G clause in your contract or whether we're going to be seeing you floating around at some point.
When I joined, I was told that my character is the only one who gets to go outside and do exterior because I'm on Earth. So, no, they're not taking me to the...
You're not going to go to space.
No, I didn't have to sign that form. I should have signed many papers, but I didn't. Yeah. But thank you.
Go ahead.
I'm not sure if you can actually answer this, and it's somewhat of a comment. I wanted to say that your acting on The Expanse is really spectacular because you bring a level of subtlety that you don't always see, particularly in syndicated television. I mean, you have a great cast. I mean, Jared Harris, Thomas Jane, you have some veterans there. But the way that you portray your character, I'm not quite sure if she's a good person or a bad person. Because her motivations on the surface for what she does and what she says seem good and seem pure. But as anybody in that position of power would be, there's a level of ruthlessness that is pretty high. Like when she has the belter strung up on the wall and it's just letting gravity basically take him down. And in particular in this last episode where you're sitting there with I forget France's, Elise. And on the surface, it seems like you're there because you're having a moment of existential crisis. You're just so heartbroken over your own son. And you have some information about her son, and you just want to let her know that you share that pain. And while you guys may have had differences and you're on different sides of the fence, you felt compelled to tell her this. And then she's talking to you. And she starts talking about, well, I get these postcards every couple of months. And then you see this look in your eye. And that's why you're there. You're not there to console her.
He's onto it.
Well, I have to thank you so much for saying these things. This was my main problem when I started. This is science fiction, set 200 years from now. Although science fiction, but it speaks for today relatively. We're still people. We're still dealing with politics problems, transparency, which I don't believe in politics. And I was wondering, should I play this woman like a human? Because her storyline is very much Shakespearean. Those three stories that are running along simultaneously, like Morse and Thomas Jane's character, Holden, looks very film noir to me. Him, the detective with the feather hat, looking for the femme fatale. The space shuttle rightfully has been named space opera, which is fantastic. What happens to my story? This is truly a Shakespearean story. Should I play it like a human, or should I play it like half human, half sort of futuristic? But finally, I came to my senses thinking, no matter what, I was thinking from the very beginning to now, we changed our pashminas for beautiful brand clothings. We changed our chariots to buy Range Rovers and Jaguar and high-end expensive cars. How much have we gone through inside? How much have we learned inside? A little in comparison, especially when it comes to technology. Therefore, we're still human, we're still people, we're still making mistakes. And it's very Shakespearean. So I had better keep her on the humanitarian side rather than turning her into an evil. Another thing is that every time I portray a character, good or bad, or Saint Elizabeth in Nativity, I don't judge them as I don't judge people in real life. Until they do something that I really have to leave them behind, I don't judge them, because we never know who's coming from where, what kind of walk of life. That's why I don't judge my characters. And with this one, I decided that she's an amazing politician. She's shrewd because she has to be. She's brutal. Name a politician who's not. By nature, you turn into one. And that's why I decided to more or less emphasize on her human side than her futuristic side. You just solved one of my problems. Thank you so much for referring to this. Merci. Thank you.
Go ahead.
Wow, audience sees that. That's what you like.
Hi. I had other questions. She knows well what I wanted to ask originally, but then maybe she would ask it if she can.
Go ahead.
And you know
put
the
it properly.
question.
Yeah, but anyway, I actually found something better to ask you. I mean, I'm a great fan of your almost all your whole career. Seen a lot of your stuff. In this movie, you're talking about kind of a woman in power position. Kind of thinking back, I found that almost every kind of political drama we've seen, political fiction, if there's a woman in power, she's almost always villainous, right? There's almost always, I mean, even the real life depictions you just listed, Benazir Bhutto, Indira Gandhi, I mean, Margaret Thatcher, there's this sense of kind of in their public image, there's this sense of there's a little villainy there too. They're not considered. I mean, there seems to be this public image of if there's a woman in power, there's something wrong, and maybe she's evil, maybe she's dark, and there's something like that. I was wondering, especially because of your background in political science. What do you think of that? And do you think that's changing? And how do you approach
It
that?
is
in your
changing.
role?
The role of women in cinema is changing totally. And it's, as I've always said, it's because of the fact that it's changing in the society. Look at the ladies who are here with us today. Look, I think they're more than men. We have more women here than men. So it's changing. The society is changing, so is cinema, that is a reflection of the society. And you're right, for some odd reasons, when we bring a female lead into a movie or a TV series, for some odd reasons, she has to be a villain. But on the other hand, there's a fine line between a villain and an angel. There's a fine line. Where is the line, and how do we find the differences? And where can we take these two characters? If Brits have a saying, they say, "Don't treat me like a dog, I'll act like a dog." So if they treat women, in a right way, if they give them the key positions in huge industrial places, our industry, Hollywood, American film industry, we see more and more female leads, not only in TV series but also films, that may be villains or may be angels. But it all depends on how we are doing in our real life, in a real society that could be depicted and shown on the silver screen. It all depends on us. And we're doing a great job, I believe. I mean, everywhere women are doing their best. Even in Saudi Arabia, finally, they got the rights to vote. So we're at the very beginning of it. You won't believe how late some countries have given the rights to women to vote. It's unbelievable. So we're at the very beginning of it, but the equality of genders is on the way soon. We've already gotten there, but we still need to sort of talk about it and make other people, especially the countries under development, to understand the importance of women's role in a society. That really women and men, they're not that much different. They can both be helpful and profitable to their societies. But we need more strong females, and you are right. And maybe it's because there is still male leads who bring more people to the theaters than females.
I see.
Especially in the Far East. And this is unbelievable. Sometimes when people talk about the inequality of receiving, salary here in our industry, some women say they receive less than men. I truly believe it's not about gender. It's not about because we are women, they are men. It's because they bring more people to the theaters, especially when it goes to the Far East or the Middle East or East. It seems like there's still actors who are bringing people to the theaters rather than actresses. But that will change soon.
I hope so. I mean, do you think, sorry for kind of, I don't know, a bit behind, but do you think there's this kind of, the thing that something is the femininity of a political power kind of scares some people, especially scares some men who feel kind of threatened? I mean, your examples when you came up with, there were strong kind of women, but I mean, Angela Merkel wasn't your list. She doesn't seem to bring some of her femininity into her kind of governance.
We all try not to do that. I mean, now I'm joining you in this one, because when you're carrying a key position, people do respect you a lot. You don't want to mix it up with your femininity. You don't want people to respect you because you're a woman, or look at you because you have nice hair. On the contrary, you take the hair back. Try to wear suits. Why do you think we wear suits all the time when we go to meetings? Because we're trying to say that I am like you. I'm not different. I'm not necessarily a woman. I'm not proud of my hair or my figure. I'm here because I'm a human being, because I love my profession. I love my job, because I'm here because I want to talk to you about this job and see what we can do to make it even better. That's why we try not to even. I sometimes forget I'm a woman, especially with this thick voice, and especially when I call some people, say, "Sir, hold on," and I'm like, "Yes, I will hold on," and I'm happy. They call me a sir. British Embassy all the time. Every time I call to ask for visa for my mother, they're like, "Sir, hold the line. I'm holding." And I'm happy they call me a sir. So yeah,
Thank you very much.
my pleasure.
So now that you've finished your book, creating something of your own, do you have any interest in sort of going behind the camera or doing any writing in the future?
You just asked the best question ever. I'm dying to direct. And I think I can do a good job. I love acting. I love teaching it. As a matter of fact, my second book, the one after this one, which I'm working on right now, is purely about acting. It's all technical. I want to teach youngsters who like to become actors stuff that they do not learn in colleges, not in the universities, not until you start working and you learn it by experience. That's why love to teach it, love to interact with actors. Try to do that all the time, every time I'm working. And sometimes they come to me, they ask me, and I try to do my best, you know. So I'm dying to act, to direct. Would love to direct. And who knows, maybe I start with Expanse. I've already talked about it. And some of them liked the idea. They were like, "Oh, we should pitch it to so-and-so." And I said, "Go pitch it. Go do whatever you can do. Pitch it as soon as you can." I'm dying to direct one of these episodes. Yeah, that's what I'm hoping to do. Working with actors.
Speaking of tweeting, did you say tweeting?
Yes.
Yes. So I understand
Lots of tweeting,
the
Instagram.
Expanse every Tuesday night.
At-
You guys get online,
Yes.
10 o'clock Eastern time, and then
10 o'clock
Also-
Eastern Time,
and
7
then-
Pacific, right? And we
So-
do live tweets and Instagram and Facebook, and some people can't believe it, especially Iranians.
guys
I
are-
love them. Somebody sent me a text message saying, "Is this real you?" And I'm like, "Yes, it's me. Where are you?" "Caspian Sea. I'm at the Caspian Sea." And it's like, no wonder you won't believe, or you can't believe that it's really me. "Do you want me to send a selfie?" He goes, "Yes, please." And I did send a selfie.
because you guys have really been engaging the fans
Yes.
through this.
I
these
love
sessions.
them. It's for them, because of them that I'm here. Sometimes, some actors really make me feel, appalled when they refuse to take a picture with a fan, or when the way they dismiss them. And I'm like, if it weren't because of this fan, you would have not been here. I mean, but maybe they don't feel like taking picture at that moment, and I'm being bizarre here. But I love my fans.
So are there any other questions? Because on that note, we might have you join us at the back of the room where the books are for a signing and selfies. So thank you very
Let's
much
take
for coming.
selfies. I love selfies.
Thank you very much for
and
coming.
thank you very much for having me. Merci. And Google, too.
Thank you.
Merci.
Thanks.